This week's episode is brought to you by our very proud sponsor, Slab Cards, who specialise in card grading with PSA and SGC. Slab Cards are authorised PSA dealers, and card grading starts from $54.95 and includes full insurance, secure storage. Slab Cards have 2 tons of back-grade safes, 24-hour surveillance, and are located in a guarded, monitored building. All cards are scanned on arrival and are available to you for viewing at any time, and Slab Cards provide automatic progress notifications. Your submissions also come with complete tracking and notifications from start to finish. Slab Cards also offer specialized shipping services, domestic shipping service with up to $10,000 insurance per parcel, domestic secure hand-to-hand shipping service delivery within 24 hours of pickup, and international shipping with up to $150,000 of insurance per parcel. Contact Slab Cards for a quote at slabd.com.au. That's slabd.com.au. And also find them at 60 Weymount Street in Adelaide. Thanks very much for supporting us, Slab Cards.
Welcome, everybody, to the You Can't Comp This podcast. I'm your co-host, Adam Amy, and with me, as is every week, Russell Gibson. How are you on this Sunday?
I am very well, mate. How are you today?
I'm great. We've got a lot. Well, actually, no, we don't have a lot. We've got some interesting stuff to talk about on the show this week.
It's going to be a light show this week. I don't think we're going to tick over an hour 45 like last week.
Look, we've got some good responses. You put up a question on our Facebook group earlier in the week.
Yeah.
Obviously, we had game 1 of the playoffs, so we'll have a little look into that. And
I think you have to crow a little bit about Derek White, don't you?
Yes, because otherwise I'll cry about the Warriors losing. Yeah, then we've got what? Is it Impeccable that's out and about?
I think we should definitely be talking about this. Yeah,
and then a very interesting Jordan card that you'd like to also discuss.
Absolutely.
All right, let's kick it off with the viewer question.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hang on. Do we have something to announce as well?
Yeah,
we'll do that later. We've got week 3 of that competition. This is going to be a 2.5 hour 2-part episode. All right, maybe not quite. We won't split it to 2 parts.
No.
Viewer question. I'm just going to jump onto Facebook.
So
question was, this was submitted by Andrew Hewitt.
Yeah.
And we decided to cover it off as a viewer question.
Yeah.
Not as a question just to us.
Yeah, so he submitted this 2 weeks ago, but we thought it was such a good question, we'd actually give it its own segment, basically. Yep. So thanks again, Andrew. You're always very active in our socials, and we appreciate it a lot, mate. Thank you.
This is great. So tell us your favorite and worst experience in this hobby. So best experience, worst experience. I don't see a response here from you, Russell. Do you have a favorite, a best experience and a worst experience?
Look, I've been very blessed, to be honest. My time in the hobby, I think I've had a lot of really good experiences, but I think I'll sort of discuss one in general, and I would probably say that's random acts of kindness that people will do. So, for example, out of the blue one day, you'll get a card, which has all been beautifully, bubble wrapped up, but they don't put a return address on it, and then you sort of have to try and work it out, who sent it to you.
Who did it?
Sometimes they'll admit it, and then sometimes they won't. And then sometimes, people will they will write their name on the back, and that makes it easy for you to thank them. But I think that's probably the one I enjoy the most, because it's just so random. You're not expecting it. You have no idea. You don't even know why you deserve it or what you did. But I think that's my favorite. Yeah,
I do think that there's a real theme of very interlinked responses here, because Andrew did come out straight away with a response. One of his favorite experiences. It's a lot of the generosity people give. Yeah. People sending cards to others, not wanting anything in return.
Yeah.
Gifting stuff to people they've never met on the other side of the country. Says a lot about the Australian community.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other hobby where this exists.
Yeah.
And
I've pretty well just stolen Andrew's response, haven't I? But
look, I think it's similar. I don't think it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
But it is. You think about other hobbies, and I'm trying to think, because I'm a member of a lot of gaming communities and things, and it's all well and good to go and do things virtually, but to physically send something to somebody with no reciprocation expected or asked for is amazing. Like
Yeah.
you're like, this guy's a really. I've dealt with this person in the past. I know who he collects. You know what? I've just pulled a card. He's going to love it. Just going to send it to them. And that's one of those positive things that you see how strong this community can be when they're at their best.
Yep. Definitely.
Look, we've got Martin's response.
Yeah.
There we go. Favorite experiences finding particular groups or some of the people in those groups, just the community itself. Like,
yeah,
you're almost like a family. Like you know these people. You see these names pop up.
Yeah.
And you've never met them in your life.
Yeah.
But you have a read on their personality. You've seen their interactions with others.
Yeah.
Like it does. It comes down to community.
I think, I mean, the amount of time too that you spend in these groups over, a year or 2 years, like it adds up. Like, let's be honest here. So I get where he comes from when he says the family part, because I would also particularly say in the little group that I run, there's probably 30 or 40 guys that have been, with me from virtually day one. So
yeah,
I have to admit, I do feel quite close to those guys, just because it's been so many years now that I speak to them on that sort of,
on that
weekly basis, and
yeah.
To be honest, even my friends outside of cards, I don't speak to them as much as I speak to the guys that, I'm friends with on here. So
and that's, I think there's
a crossover there. They move from friends in basketball cards to your actual friends that, come to your birthday parties and come to your house for dinner. Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's amazing how communities form.
Yeah.
And I know there are other communities out there, but the way this community bonds is very, very special. Like just seeing people surprised at mail days because cards turn up. It's just like, where did this come from? And when it gets called out, when it's anonymous and people are just asking, like, where did this come from? It's a good feeling, and it's something I've seen a lot in other communities. With the banter happens, but not the over and above acts of generosity. And I guess I haven't really. It's funny. I've got a lot of good experiences and a few negatives. I'll just point out that I didn't say that when I said it all started when I started listening to the You Can't Comp This podcast. I never said if that was a good experience or a bad experience, and I'm going to leave that vague. You guys do with that information what you will. Anyway.
I mean, I'm assuming you think it's a good thing. You keep coming back. So
yes, true. This is true. I've either got some really, like sick mindset where I just like going back for torture or something. No, definitely a positive experience. But think about when we have, and look, we've seen a lot of it recently as far as people saying they're selling cards because they need to make ends meet. There's a lot of I need to sell because mortgage repayments have gone up because of interest rates or whatever. They're not the things I'm talking about. But when someone comes out with one of those, it's not just a cry out, I need to do a fire sale story. When another member of the community comes out and says, I know another community member, they're doing it really hard. Can everyone jump on board?
Yeah.
I've never, ever seen a community just go in full hog.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing. And I think that is one of the most beautiful things that I've seen a community do. Just the number of times.
I think I know what you're referring to there, and I probably think, not that you were going to name names, but I think we shouldn't say names.
I'm not. I'll never name names because it's happened multiple times over the years.
Yeah. But I think this is one that happened recently that I'm like very much got my mind on, and
yep.
I cannot agree with you more what you're saying now, mate, because literally there was hundreds of people, chipping in for that particular one, and there was no expectation of reciprocation or anything like that. It was very organic. I agree. Yeah,
it's amazing when you get people, and this isn't a slight to people in general, but a lot of your friends will offhand say, if you need anything, let me know. And the second you do need something, you ask, and they're not there. There's a lot of people that aren't there. But this community, as soon as the SOS goes out, that generosity and that kindness, that family mentality, really, really kicks in. So I think it is a beautiful thing and a great community. Bad experiences.
What's your bad? Because it's actually funny, isn't it? I was expecting a lot of bad on here, but
People ragging on things. Look, it's it's a minority thing with the bad experiences.
yeah,
I've had some very poor interactions with people where we'll call them the scammers. There's a reason there's a scammers page, right?
yeah, definitely.
I think those people naturally get evicted from the community, but it's like what that evil villain Hydra, cut one head off and two take its place. There's always a bad egg.
Yeah.
And there's always someone that's, like flipping cards. Sure, you want to you want to get value, but there's a difference between getting value and unethically ripping people off. And I think that the scammers of this community, the ones that do it with ill intent, should seriously be ashamed of themselves. That's where all of my bad experiences have come from.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that try and get away with.
But I think people who are flipping cards is completely separate to someone perhaps putting up an ad and not disclosing the damage to a card or misrepresenting what the card is. Like, is that what you're talking about?
No, I mean, like trying to. Well, we'll say people that I've had instances where I've made purchases.
Yeah.
And there have been, and they're large purchases.
Sure.
Multitudes of cards, and a number of those cards didn't turn up, and that person, I'm not going to name names because I think it's not worth it. It was years ago. That person, when I asked about it, said, yeah, they're on their way. And then I followed up, and I'm very patient. I'm like, I still haven't seen those cards. Anyway, I left it for a little while, and I've got a really vivid memory, we'll say. I don't forget things. I just don't forget little details. And about 8 or 9 months later,
yeah,
this person put a sales thread up and put two of the cards that they'd sold me and not sent me.
Yeah, see, I think
that's what I mean, like ill intent, like someone that people make mistakes. We're all human, right?
Yeah.
But it's when your intent is malicious.
I think I don't disagree with anything of what you're saying. The only thing I just want to clarify is I think you used the word flipping in that when I really think you should have, instead of using flipping, you should have said stealing. Because that's what that dude did for me, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
he's stealing my money under the false guise of selling cards.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to come across quite sensitive about this issue because I really actually think sometimes flippers get a bad name. So I think this is what you're talking about is not flipping, and I think we need to like put that on the record. You know what I mean?
No, but they come across as flippers, right? They come across as there's so many of us that try and buy and sell cards, right? Try and buy low, sell high,
which is what we should do.
Correct.
Or flip cards that you have that you don't want, and then you buy something you do want. I really don't see why people get like negative energy from other people when they're a flipper. I just don't understand it. You know?
Yeah.
Too, we need these flippers to buy the cards off us when we want to sell, and it's not like they make money off every deal. So honestly, I just don't see it. Like,
no, I know you're right. You've got a very good point. I'm labeling them flippers when not all
flippers alone, Adam. Like, honestly, what's your problem?
We'll regulate the hobby, and we won't have to, will we?
Oh, please,
that old chestnut.
Anyway, I interrupted you.
That's like no, not at all. We so I suppose I'll go. We're still on Martin. I went through a good experience.
We've segued hardcore, haven't we? So Martin's negative was chasing people for money.
Yep.
I mean, everyone hates that.
I thought I'd read that out before you say that as one of your negatives.
Look, because I collect so many payments on a weekly basis, I'm sort of past like worrying about that now. Like,
don't say that on the show. People are just going to not pay.
No, I really am. Because if you think about it, like just say there's 10 payments a week that you don't receive, and then you've got 10 instances of high stress. It's not worth it. Like, I just don't. I honestly, I've got better things to stress about than like people not paying. And what I do now, I just don't run breaks.
That's fair.
I just hold them. Like, I'm not.
It's pretty simple. You don't pay. You don't get your
It's not like the dude that I get my cards off. It's like, no, that's fine. I'll send you the gear out and you can pay when you want. That's not how it works, mate. Like, it's unfortunately, the world doesn't spin that way. So yeah, now that's just how I roll with it. And to be honest, sometimes I'm hoping people don't pay, and I can have the night off. I mean, is that terrible to say?
No, it's funny. I'm just imagining like you wouldn't do that with your crack dealer, so don't do it with your cardboard crack dealer.
Are you saying
I'm
I
not
don't do
implying at
that to
all that
my
you're a
crack
cardboard
dealer?
crack
Or
dealer. You're a casino. Breaks is no, I'm not.
you're slinging mud at me left, right, and centre tonight. You called me a flipper, a crack dealer, and now
I
a
didn't call you
casino
a
runner.
flipper. I offended flippers.
Unbelievable.
See, now are you thinking this is the worst or best experience to starting
So
listening to the
I was going to
podcast?
say, this is now my negative experience. Episode 30, this has been my worst experience of mine.
Oh, when it's an ESPN 30 for 30. Well,
My negative experience, actually, we've already spoken about this on the podcast. For me, I don't even need to think about this. Is that time that I got scammed for some cash, which turned out to be, it was covered by PayPal goods and services. But he wrote all sorts of crazy stuff in the case to PayPal. And I honestly thought that he was going to win. That was easily my worst experience. Yeah.
yeah.
But that's the only time it's ever happened to me. So if you think about it in the percentages,
Overall, yeah.
way less than 1%, like
Yeah.
0.033. Is that what it would be?
Yeah, bugger all.
And what's your negative experience in the hobby?
Just people trying to rip others off. It's more a mindset. I think
Sure. So you
I
don't have a specific one, it's more just in general you dislike
I don't like the behavior. Like, it's funny. I wouldn't say they're linked. I love the way that the community as a whole get behind one another and support one another.
Yeah.
And we are like a family. And then you've got those, I don't know what you'd call them, the strays that sort of walk in and try and wreck it for everybody.
Yeah.
There
are definitely repeat offenders in that space. I would agree with that 100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't understand what you're actually trying to ruin because you're being so selfish. And you don't understand that you're actually missing out on a beautiful thing by being a jerk and acting selfishly and unethically.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go too deep onto what you just said then, but I wonder if these people are in a completely different space to where we're at, and they could care less about our green piece of grass that we're sitting on, you know.
Well, they can drown in a swamp. Jeez, I'm on fire tonight.
Adam, do I beep that out? I mean, is that too controversial for our listeners? Or
no. Unless anyone from the scammers page is found drowned in a swamp, we should be fine. We're not liable.
Oh, now I'm having second thoughts about this. All right.
Best and worst experience. The day Adam suggested, but
yeah. So I think that pretty well covers it. Did you want to add anything else
to
this?
There's one response there I think you need to read out, and that is from
Samuel. Look, I deliberately skipped over this, and I think part of that is sometimes I'm not very good at receiving positive feedback. Do you know what, Adam? I need to take this as a moment to, improve. And I'm going to read it word for word. So this is from Samuel Scarce. So thank you, Samuel. Russell Gibson and his reaction to pulling me a LaMelo redemption when LaMelo was fresh. Such an awesome time. On a side note, thank you for all the effort you go through bringing us the breaks, Russ. And thank you, Samuel. That's a very nice thing you just said to me, mate. Look, I enjoy it. So yes, it is an effort. Don't get me wrong. It's not like it takes zero effort, but it's an effort that I get a lot of pleasure out of, mate. So it's the least I can do for you lads.
Yeah. Look, I think it's
redemption. I'm trying to think this is terrible actually, just how bad my memory is, because the one that comes to mind is the iMac. I think it was a Don Russ choice one.
Yep, might have been.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Do you know what? And this is probably the most humbling of moments when that sinks in.
Yeah.
That you've put out this question and said, tell us about the best experience you've had in this hobby as a card collector. And there are people out there that are literally saying, watching your break, you have provided me.
Interesting. I didn't think about that.
With the best experience I've ever had. In this hobby.
It's important that,
and that's huge. And I think you just take that in. That's a massive positive.
Yeah.
It shows the positive impact you have on the community to start with. But
thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
to be someone's favorite, most memorable moment,
It's pretty delicious.
it's pretty special. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't think there was a bad moment by
No,
Samuel,
he
which
definitely
is
didn't.
great. So, yeah, that was good.
All right, let's keep with this positive energy. I've got one actually. So we officially have a second sponsor for the show. So EJ Cards have come on board. So let's do the advertisement.
Oh wow.
Yeah, EJ Cards specialize in sports cards, supplies, Pokemon, and other collectibles.
Yeah.
EJ Sports Cards are located at 394 to 398 Middleborough Road in Blackburn, which is
Round the corner from me.
very close actually.
Well, not around the corner, but down
I
the road.
was going to say northeast.
Yep. East. You'd say more east than southeast.
Sure, yeah. So I'm just looking on their website at the moment. I'm looking through their bargain bin. I found a box of 21-22 Panini Prism Premier League EPL soccer breakaway box. And after Martin came on last week, I have to admit, I've actually jumped into a soccer break this week. So looking forward to that. They've got a lot of sleeves on there too. They also do AFL, top loaders, one touches, albums, portfolio storage. So check them out, ejcards.com.au. So thank you, EJ Cards, for sponsoring us. We're very grateful.
Very grateful, and you know what? I will make sure that I'm down there once I'm fully mobile. And able to sort of go for a bit of a stroll. But yeah, go and check that out.
I spoke to Rob very briefly last week, and he's got a lot on his plate at the moment. We're going to touch base in the next couple of weeks to discuss, moving forward, how we want to work together. But something I've raised with him is doing a collector's day where we go down to his shop and
I'm super down with that. Even we could even do a live show there.
We could do some interviews. We could do a live break. I think also too.
I like it.
After the amount of success that the larger trade days have, I sort of wonder if grassroots trade days could really, mean something to the community, because, and this is my perception of the last couple of years, I really think that very basic meeting up with people and catching up with people has sort of gone by the wayside a little bit. So I think,
agreed.
I think the card space, I know there's a bit of negativity out there at the moment, prices are down and stuff like that, but actually I think the community is very strong, and I think if we can organize something like this is obviously a pipe dream. As you can hear me, I'm sort of brainstorming this as I'm going, but
yeah, I'm liking what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
we've just talked about how great this community is.
Yeah,
and how big this community is.
Yeah,
being all around the country.
Yeah,
but there are pockets of people in similar spots.
Yeah,
so why can't we?
Who are keen to get out and meet people and chat and just trade cards and talk shop. So I think it can happen.
We don't need the hobby hangout to come and Cherry to run a big trade day.
Well,
you know what I mean? Why can't we just localize it?
No, well, so my feeling about that is I think we need those big days, but I also think it's nice to have something small too.
Correct. No, but you don't wait for the big day.
Yeah.
Go and meet up with the people in your area.
Yeah.
Like
even if it's only 5 or 10 of us, I still think that would be a nice day. So
I think it'd be well, I know a few collectors in that area, so I've got a few people I might reach out to, see if we can arrange a good date, and maybe we do a show there and trade some cards. I've got plenty of cardboard to flick around. Don't
take this personal out. I don't really want to do a show. I just want to go down and like trade cards with people.
Fine, I'll do a solo show and just.
I think also too the sound quality would be terrible.
I might come and interview you. You never know. You might if you're lucky.
I'll give you 2 minutes of my time, Adam. That's as much as you're getting from me, mate.
That's no look. If I might have, you'll be down the queue. I've got a lot of guests lined up.
Oh, fine. Yeah.
All right.
So,
yeah. Well,
thank
you for sponsoring us. By the way, EJ Cards. That's huge. It's very humbling as a growing sort of. Take it like we've done a lot of hard work. We've put some groundwork in, and we've got people coming on board. And I think it's a sort of reward for effort.
Couldn't agree more, mate. I think it's really good for us. I think it's good for our confidence too.
Yeah.
So this week on my mind, what has mostly been on it actually is this Mosaic Jordan custom card that I saw on Twitter. I screenshot it, but I forgot.
You mean it's not genuine?
It's not, unfortunately, but this has actually occupied my mind space the most out of anything. So I've put it onto Facebook. I'll put it onto Twitter. If you can chuck it onto Instagram, so as people are listening to this, they can check it out.
For sure. We are going to whack it on the. Please keep talking while I whack this on Instagram because this
So
is hilarious.
what this incredible artist has done is they've taken it's not last year, it's a couple of years ago now, after Kobe passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously there was a number of outstanding redemptions that he hadn't signed. So what Panini did was they actually made a short printed set, which was every card was numbered to 8.
Yep.
And they were mosaics, and they were a purple, and it was like a two-tone purple
Yep.
parallel. I think that's the way you could say it. And what this person's done is they've taken that image and then turned it into red and black, being the Chicago Bulls red and black, and then they've
Yeah.
Photoshop Jordan into it. It looks absolutely perfect. The lettering on Jordan looks a little bit off, but it's still passable. But the thing that, again, has just been going around and around my head this week is how amazing would it be if Fanatics purchased Panini and also Upper Deck and made sets like this happen? Like, imagine having LeBron coming into your sets and stuff like that. I'm going to segue in the middle of this segment. So last week, Al actually pointed out to me that I said that Panini would buy Tops or vice versa. But what I was trying to say was that Fanatics should be buying Panini.
Yeah. So for the record, hasn't Fanatics already bought Tops?
Fanatics has already bought Tops, yeah. But I said the wrong thing.
You meant to say it, yeah. Of course. By the way, thanks, Al. Appreciate
thank you.
It's like having a spell checker that finds out after the newspaper's been published. It's awesome. Every Maybe Monday.
We should start to get Al to edit the podcast before it goes live. That's also,
No, I enjoy it. I enjoy story time with Al.
Yeah.
That's great. I have game time with Al on a Wednesday. That's it. There's a plug.
So
for
and
Al.
as we also discussed last week, I really do enjoy conspiracy theories. I've been trying to find some more information. So the lads from Cardboard Nonsense floated this last week. There's nothing online about this, like literally nothing at all. Even when you sort of search like for lesser keywords to try and, get something else up. The closest I've got is to say that they're pushing to buy it. And that's from literally an unknown person on Twitter. So essentially what I'm trying to say, I've got nothing. But just, how amazing would that be? And I think the more of these like custom cards that, do come out with this type of artwork on it, and you do see them, online sometimes with like, Jordan logo mens and stuff like that.
You do.
They're worth nothing, but they're just absolutely beautiful. But I think probably my perspective about this too is it also reminds me about what we're missing out on because of essentially contractual politics.
Yeah. And look, this is really gonna show my age. In the early 90s, I think it was, with and this is, I don't know how bad it happened internationally, but with video games, and I'm going back to the original Nintendo, releasing like international cricket and Aussie rules football.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't have the licenses to the players' names.
Yeah.
So every name was made up and wasn't real, and you knew who they were referring to, but they couldn't use the actual players' names.
Yeah.
Just the gaming experience. It was just like every time I played that game, I just wished they'd used the real player's name. And this is where
100%.
That political nonsense. And I get it. It's money. There's a lot of money involved, and contracts and the like. But if only you get these companies working together to sort of make a good product, it'd be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like sure. Jordan signs with company X. Can't you just all get together and just allow these cards to be printed and get him to sign X amount of your Panini cards?
No.
Make the deal.
I think, look, to be honest, I've never heard even a rumor that Upper Deck is for sale. The only thing I've ever heard is that they will not be for sale and, would never be for sale. So, it might be one of those things that we never get and we just perpetually miss out on, having Jordan in cards. But when I see stuff like this, it makes me realize, what we have missed out on. And for me, the potential of so let's just use LeBron James as the example.
Yeah.
I think even having his image, let's just say that Fanatics does acquire Panini, at least having his image in basketball cards, I think would be just amazing. Even if, he doesn't sign. Like, I do think it's like that important for cards. So
yeah. Yep. There's got to be a way. There's got to be a way to give the people what they want.
Any final thoughts on that Mosaic Jordan, mate?
Looks nice. It's a very nice card. Um, unfortunately, it's not real. It's funny. It's funny how when I saw this, I was waiting for because the instant thing is the negativity on the internet. People are very quick to go, that card's not real. That's not worth anything. Whereas we've sort of looked at it and gone, imagine what could be.
I think it depends on the custom card that's being presented. For example, what
It's
I
a
mean
black
by
and
that
white
is,
photocopy.
well, no, if it's obviously a custom card, so for
Yeah.
example, that one, like,
Yeah.
everyone knows that's not in any set.
Yeah.
I think that stuff is received really well because they look at it and they go, that's this awesome card. That's great.
That's
But,
creative from the creator.
yeah, if it's people pulling apart cards to put in a better patch and then to resell them,
I thought we weren't going to talk about Jersey Fusion anymore.
well,
sorry.
so no, I haven't explained myself well enough. What I mean is,
No. I was taking. That was a joke from me.
yeah.
I'm not. I
Sorry,
can't
Adam.
stand that.
It was a good joke.
Thank you.
I was taking it too personal. No, what I'm trying to say is, okay, so just say you've got a patch auto, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the patch is terrible. So what some very clever people can do is they can take the card apart. Who knows how they do this? And they get some delicious patch and then stick it back together and resell it.
I've got a montage playing in my head right now of someone taking a card apart. So
I don't know. Anyway, it's been done.
Yep.
Cardporn actually somehow put the pieces together because some of the cards are being graded and then they were regraded, with different patches in them. So
wow,
how people do it, it's just beyond me. But yeah, it does get done. So I'm not referring to that. I think that type of behavior is, looked on incredibly poorly. But there is some really talented people out there doing, custom cards. Maybe that's something I need to do this week because if I see them again, I'll put them onto our socials so people can check that out because people are doing some really interesting stuff.
That's interesting, and it's just fans being fans, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
I mean, I get there's a lot of money involved and stuff, but fans are fans, and sometimes you just want a decorative piece.
Yeah,
and if the companies can't give it to us, then we look elsewhere.
Yeah. All right. Impeccable. Let's talk Impeccable.
Now, I've literally been burying my head in the sand. I think I've buried it in the sands of Tatooine watching Star Wars, to be honest. But
yeah,
Impeccable. I took my first look at it tonight, and wow, what a set!
So, what's your pros of Impeccable?
Pros?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd call it. What is it? You'd call it a low high end product?
Yeah.
Is that the most succinct summary I could? Like, it's the low point to buy in as a high end product.
Okay, let me re-ask that question then. So you're saying it's a low high end product. What else would you put in the same sentence as Impeccable?
And the same as Impeccable.
Yeah, like ballpark. What's Impeccable similar to you?
It gives it's sort of like a taste of what. And I was going to say, but pre-show, I got these confused and I said, immaculate, what?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I put that into the same sentence, 100%.
Yeah.
The other one that comes to mind for me is noir because...
Yes.
Yes.
So no, I was going to say it's definitely more than like a Spectra.
Yeah, you could put Spectra in the same...
I'd put Spectra down the bottom there. Spectra
is a very specific set, though.
I'd call Spectra the high-end mosaic.
Yeah. But it's very shiny. I was going to say like a high-end Revo. That's what. Yeah. That's how I feel about Spectra.
Yeah. But I do like Impeccable. I do like Impeccable.
So I think the standout cards are the metal cards. I think they're an important part of it, and they're very impeccable. Like if you see those cards, you know exactly where they've come from. Yeah. And then the gold and the silver bar cards, which you were talking about offline.
Yeah, the gold and silver ones are. Yep.
They're absolutely huge, those cards. And
then we've got...
So really interesting. We actually had a fan question last week about Impeccable, and what someone was talking about was, is there less RPAs in this year's product than previous years? And I've actually been watching case breaks on Leighton's Card Sports this week of Impeccable, and actually what did stick out to my mind, and the reason why I'm going back to this last week's question is because some of the boxes and even half cases didn't have a single RPA. But then one box they opened had 3 RPAs in it. So
holy.
Yeah. So maybe what's happened this year is, let's just say the total number is actually the same, which is what I probably do suspect. But maybe what they've done this year is they're very inconsistent with where the RPA sits.
Oh.
So for example, what that means is just say you go into a single box break of
Yeah.
Impeccable, you might not see a single RPA. On contrary to that, you might see 2 or you might see 3.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I think that the case break buy-in of that would be quite substantial, but then you at least be seeing the correct amount of RPAs, spread through. So it's
Yeah.
3 boxes per case. It's currently retailing on David Adams at the moment for, where did my thing go? Here it is here. For $2,400 US, which when you say it like that, I actually think Noir and iMac is going to go higher than that this year than both
Yeah.
of them. And when it first came out, I actually thought this was going to go, to be honest, to like 4 or even higher because
Yeah.
how well Origins was received this year, I just thought
Mm.
that people would eat this up totally. But look, I think that's still very, very high. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I don't think that's also insanity either. So
Wow. I'm looking through the all the different sets, the subsets, and just like the gallery. And this is on is it Cardboard Connection?
yeah,
Where it sort of gives you the checklist and gives you a few samples of the cards and what they look like.
yeah.
And my eyes keep getting drawn to the NBA 75th anniversary autographs.
So yeah, that's actually. It seems to be, when you think about it, a theme that's running through most of the sets this year.
The 75.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It should have been last year because they're always a year behind on releasing I'm not going on that tirade again.
that's actually a very well placed barb, Adam. Well played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, I see the Magic Johnson and it's like that the diamond there just really that's just a beautiful looking card.
Yeah.
I can see that holographic background.
Yeah.
That's nice. It's
Look, they've done some really nice work around that. Like the blaster case hit for the 75 years is just amazing in hoops.
Yep.
There's not many of them around, so it's not something you're going to see a lot on resale, but they're absolutely out there. And the 75-year card in Impeccable 2 is also quite beautiful. So they've done that really well. The thing I wanted to add about Impeccable is they've got a lot more veterans, retired veterans in it this year, but I think this might be a two-faced thing for me. One is I think that the selection of the people they put into it is pretty good. So they've got like Larry Johnsons, they've got Karl Malone's, they've got John Stockton. So they've gone to a lot of effort to get big guys. Look, they do have some potatoes in there too. Like I'm not going to say that every person in the checklist is awesome, but I probably think it's also my phase of my sort of collecting pathway where I'm going down. I'm actually really into veterans at the moment. So they're all on card. The card build themselves is really nice. Like one thing that puts me off a little bit with Noir is every single card is not cut properly. Like they've always got the edge whitening. Most people who dig Noir don't care about that anymore. Like they just know what it is and they accept it. But if Impeccable and Noir is in the same price range, and I personally like the cleanness of the Impeccable stuff. I find the images quite clean.
Yep.
I'm definitely going to be chasing down some retired veteran autographs out of this set 100% because, and we've talked about this already, like there is a slide in singles sales, so maybe there's going to be some good value coming up and the off season's coming up too. So
I won't be looking to buy boxes or cases, but I'll be looking at singles, I think.
So I was told by someone who I trust within the industry that this is something you should be buying and putting away.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that because of the 75th anniversary, do you think? Or do you think there's other reasons behind it? I think economic reasons.
I think part of it is that I need to fact check this 100%, but I don't think there's any unnumbered cards in this.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I think even your base stuff is numbered to 99.
Yeah, I'm having a look now. Yep.
So I think that's part of it. Like there is a very definite print run of this. And I would also say too, like the gold bars, I think they're going to fare very well. I think, the silver stuff will do well.
Yeah.
LeBron James is in it. I think that means a lot.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. It's definitely an interesting set. There's a very big variety of players. That's for sure.
Yeah. And look,
I'm just looking through all the different like insert sets and it's just like, wow.
Am I planning to take this gentleman's advice? No, I'm going to break it. Like, so, let's keep it real too. Like, but yeah, beautiful product.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
All right, Dad. let's keep this show moving. What do we got next?
What have we got next? I can't even. There was an NBA Finals game on that happened on Friday. Shall we go into that?
I've already erased that from my mind. I was betting on that, and
that's all right. I can get the box score up. I can give you a refresher if you like.
I think we should start with Derek White. I think I remember that you
I do. If I had the audio clip on me about how you would tell me it was a 2-bit hack, that we'd be lucky to get that lucky he's got a bench spot. So Derek White was one of the main factors that helped the Boston Celtics take steal. Would you say steal?
I mean, they
not
played
on card ladder, that's for sure.
They played really, really well.
Oh wait, no, we've got a prism. There we go. Oh, it's 2017, so you might 17, 18. Let's have a look. Well, is that a spike I see? No, it's a dip.
I was going to say, what are you looking at, man?
I'm looking at the base. No, he's dipped again.
He's down 25%.
Is this because of the way you ran your mouth about him? Look, everyone just sold them all on your advice to sell him.
Hang on a second. So you're saying that I had that much influence and power over the industry that Derek White has just dipped 25%?
Are we going to announce Card Ladder as our next sponsor? No.
I mean, we've said some ridiculous things in our 30 episodes ad, but I think this is going to go straight to the Hall of Fame.
Oh my God, Silver. PSA 9's on the rise.
All right, so let's
That's
talk.
up 0.16%, by the way.
So seriously, I'm asking you this now, really. So his last sold price was $41, PSA 10 silver. Are you buying it?
Yes.
Okay.
There's 149 of them. If people want to reach out and get some of those 149 PSA 10s to me,
yeah,
I'm buying.
Okay.
I'm buying, especially if Boston win the title because, you know what I mean? This guy is having a breakout in the playoffs.
Then he's a chipped player and you can't take that away from him. Yeah, look, I'm fine with that.
Can you imagine that, though? Being a 2-bit hack, and I don't disagree that he was very ordinary in the regular season, but all of a sudden, since going to Boston, he sort of found an identity and started playing good basketball.
Look.
It's his third or fourth real season in the league, and he's and all of a sudden he's found himself. Players do take different lengths of time to sort of not break out, but sort of develop. Would be in the league 3 or 4 seasons, and all of a sudden Boston wanted him hard. I don't agree with the trade, but he's sort of earned his stripes, and look, he's been given an opportunity, and he's taken it. Taking the bull by the horns, so to speak.
Yeah, look, I said what I said last week, and I don't feel uncomfortable with what I said, even where I'm sitting now. However, in saying that, you can't deny what he did in Game 1. I think without his contribution, they wouldn't have won the game. I think it's very reasonable to say that.
It's fair, yeah.
I would also say, too, the guy played literally the best game of his life on the biggest stage, so you can't take that away from him. So congratulations to him. Hey, did you see the post-game press conference they had with him?
No.
So they brought him up to the table.
It's because he's just become a dad, hasn't he?
I'm not too sure about that. I think that was Trae Young.
That was Trae Young, was it? Yeah. Okay.
So if you've got League Pass, they have Game Time, and they had a post-game Game Time episode.
Oh, yep.
They had him up there. He just seemed like a really nice young man. But the thing that really stood out to me was they had his parents standing in the background, and you should have seen the smile on his dad's face. It was literally ear to ear.
It's just like his son's played the best game.
Yeah, you couldn't have wiped the smile off his face if you tried.
If anyone heard that, my puppies just woke up, by the way. He's growling in the background. I was
going to say, are you having some problems with your computer audio ad? But yeah.
Yeah, look, I've got a sound bar and pressing buttons accidentally.
Yeah.
No, my two dogs have just woken up from their slumber. Actually,
I love those stories with the NBA. As much as I love the game, I also love all the the stuff behind it. He wasn't recruited going into D1 and stuff like that. It's an awesome story. Yeah.
And now he's actually on the biggest stage playing in the NBA finals and really stepping up. We talk about early playoffs that Jordan Poole has been ready for this moment and has stepped up.
Jordan Poole, he lost that game for them in the way that he played at the start of the fourth quarter. That was
they were counting chickens and celebrating when they should have been putting their head down, realizing this is the NBA finals.
Yeah. So
and I don't blame Steph. Steph had an amazing game 1. he got them out to a big lead. But yeah, Klay Thompson put it. It's not best to 1; it's best to 4. It's first to 4.
Yeah, look, I know we don't want to be a basketball analysis show, but this is my armchair analysis of the rotation, particularly for Steph Curry's minutes. Do you remember what they used to do with the really big time players? Like, so Elijah one was like the one that comes to mind for me.
Mm-hmm.
They would rest him for say the last 1.5, 2 minutes of each quarter, and then that would be it. That would be his break, and then he would be starting again. So they were trying to stretch out Steph's rest.
And that caused a huge momentum shift.
I honestly think
not just Steph a little one.
Had have started that fourth quarter, they would have won game 1 because I think he would have been out there and been able to stem the tide a little bit more. And Jordan Poole wouldn't have been taking those shots. Like, I don't know. For me, that was just absolutely painful to watch that happen to Jordan Poole. Like, I think he's going to be having nightmares for a week, honestly.
All right. There's nothing much as far as this guy goes because I wanted to talk about Al Horford next, but there's nothing on card ladder.
Yeah.
So there's literally one card here. This guy has been compared to Draymond Green as far as the key player for this series.
What card are you looking at for Al Horford, big fella?
The only one I got was a 2007 exquisite collection.
Yeah.
That sold for $2. I don't know why this is on card ladder, but that's the only Al Horford card unless I spelled his name wrong.
And last sold on May the 11th. So pop of 48. What would you?
That's raw too.
What would you now value that at after the way he played?
226. I honestly, I don't know. Any Al Horford collectors out there?
I actually think I've seen a lot of Al Horford action happening at the moment. People requesting Al Horford cards, like the
really,
yeah. I think
really,
yeah, he's really popped since that, like the last couple of weeks.
He's yeah. I know he's become a crucial piece, and I think he is a very critical piece for Boston.
Yeah.
I think any criticism that he's the reason Draymond had an off night, we'll wait until the series is a little closer to over before I'm just overanalyzing. I think Al Horford played a great game.
Yeah, he did.
I think he played one of the best games of his career.
Yeah.
You know how we're talking about Derek White stepping up. He played out of his skin, Al Horford.
Yeah.
Now, if that's because he's been ready for this moment and is just giving it everything, that's great. But I think he's definitely up at the peak of his ability.
Yeah.
If not playing above himself, unfortunately.
So if you're considering to unload all your Al Horford because now's the right time, I definitely agree now is the right time, but go and have a look on eBay sold listings before you think you're going to make $1 million because stuff is selling. So a select 18-19 courtside copper, number to 60, last sold for $7.50. Mm-hmm. These are all US dollars.
Yeah.
A black gold choice prism, number to 8, $16.50.
Nice.
A mosaic Genesis for $6.50. So, he's not someone that's super collectible. I think that's the nicest way to say it. The highest price card I can find for him is a second year 3 out of 5 Topps Chrome red refractor that sold for $565 US.
Yeah,
it's already got the.
He's a veteran. He's a. What would you call him? A stalwart? Like he's been there. He's been through. He's had a big career and he's been a good vital piece, but he's never been a collectible player.
So my recollection of this guy was that he won 2 championships in Florida with Joakim Noah.
Yeah.
And then I think he played all 4 years at college. I heard someone throw his name around that if he wins a championship, because he's been named an All-Star multiple times in Atlanta, he'll be an Hall of Fame player.
If he wins a chip, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Do you reckon?
Maybe. Like, he's definitely not a scrub, and he's definitely not the key guy. He's not the franchise guy, but Scottie Pippen's in the Hall of Fame.
I'm not sure if you're trying to troll me right now.
There's a semi-troll there. But he's the second string guy. He's the second piece of a big three or the third piece of a big three. He's never the number one guy.
No, he's definitely not number one.
He's never the number one guy, but he's never on the bench, if that makes sense. Like, he's a critical piece.
Absolutely. So I think for me, the more relevant comparison would be Ben Wallace, who's also in the Hall of Fame.
There you go. Perfect.
If you put Ben Wallace into the Hall of Fame, do you then almost have to put Al Horford in because he's got a similar resume, maybe even better when you think about it in terms of the college career?
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, I think Al Horford's
I
stuff is
think
a steal.
Al's career stats wise. I think he's done great. I think the championship sort of opens the door to the Hall of Fame for him.
Yeah. All right.
That'd be. Is there anyone else you want to talk
The
about?
last one I want to look at is Marcus Smart because he's the other one who I think that
Okay.
people are going to be really taking notice of this dude. So silver PSA 10, yeah, he's up 126% in the last 3 months. Last
Yeah. Now
sold,
my question on that, very quickly, is that defensive player of the year stuff
well,
driven, or is that
see that last sale. There's only been 2 sales in 3
April?
months,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
I think that speaks a lot to how collectible or not collectible this guy is. I would probably also say too, the person who sold this at this particular time that's very good timing. So I think that's very smart.
Well, his base has gone up
I
for
would
PSA 10.
probably project that would settle somewhere between the $80 that it previously sold for and what it just sold for at 170. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
picking that up for say 120, I think that's a really, really solid buy. And
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to lose money on that, particularly if they win the championship this year. I think that would be
Mm-hmm.
just huge.
I don't think I don't think I would value his Prism Silver at 170 anymore.
No,
His base is now going. His base is now going for 120.
is it really?
Yeah, that's why I went to the PSA 10. Base pop 95, up 127%.
So what are you saying that the silver is actually
This,
undervalued at 170?
yeah. I think if you're looking at silvers now, you're probably paying a little bit more of a premium. Especially there's only 15. There's only 15 of them.
I just
That said, if the Warriors win the title, 170 is probably overpaying overs for it.
yeah, and that's what I was about to say. Then I just think that if you go absolutely nuts on this dude right now, the
I
more realistic thing is going to happen. It's going to dip down again.
and
And
looking at the both rosters, I think there are only three players that you don't do you dough on, as far as irrespective of the finals, the outcome won't impact it as much.
yeah,
That is Tatum, Brown, and Curry. That's my thought on it.
yeah,
I don't think this series impacts their long-term value as greatly as every other player.
yeah, sure.
So if the Warriors lose, I think Curry's still a good investment and he's still going to be one of those generational players that is going to go up. And I think Tatum and Brown are destined. How old are they? 23, 24? Like they're not.
They're
They're
young.
kids.
Yeah,
And they're already playing the NBA finals together. Like
yeah,
I think they're both set for huge careers.
yeah. All right. I think we should make this a closing question. So we've got Andrew Wiggins. His last sale was $383.
Yeah.
Would you buy that at $383, or would you buy a Marcus Smart at the top,
Yeah.
$170?
What's the pop on the Wiggins? But at the moment, I'm on Smart.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing actually. Like even if it is the top of 71, it's the pop on the Wiggins.
71 for silver.
Yep.
Yeah, that's tough. Look, if I'm getting it below 200, I'm buying Smart.
Yeah. I think when you
And this is going to say that their respective team wins the championship, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, yeah. So,
I think Wiggins has already kind of had his. Well, he hasn't had his mega spike, but I think the All Star was when he got his spike.
yeah, he's up 40%.
Yeah, that's fair. Like I've looked at the spike in. Well, and Smart seems to be the smart money. Funnily enough, play on words.
Yeah.
If you look, the last sold on the base, and I use the base as a basis of comparison rather than what I would get. PSA 10 base for Wiggins last sold for $72.50. So the Marcus Smart is selling for $50 more.
Yeah.
Base.
So
I just think that no one's selling there. The 15 people that own the PSA 10 silvers, no one's selling.
so my just replying to what you've just said then. So my two thoughts about that is one, I think buying base now I think is quite risky because the flip game on base is gone.
I was going to say because of the economy, we're currently we're not playing the flip game as much.
So
as hard.
Okay, so yes, I think the economy does definitely play into it. That's one part of it. I would also say too, if you think about how many new people have come into the hobby in say the last 12, 24, 36 months,
yeah,
I would say the collective wisdom of all the collectors now is, to be honest, I think it's a lot better.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
people are a lot more selective about what they're purchasing. So this is
There's
my
people are doing
personal
their
belief.
research. Is that
Yeah.
what you're sort of? Yeah,
I
that makes
think
sense.
I think people have been spending a bit more time in the hobby and are sort of coming to realize now maybe we way overpaid on all of these, raw singles and graded. Like, why are we grading
Because
base
people are
cards?
impulsive.
No, but I think well, to be honest, I think part of the reason why is because there was a real chance for people to make cash on it. And I'm
Yeah,
saying
that's
that
fair.
in
That's
the
fair. No.
nicest possible way. Whereas I think
Yeah.
that has probably disappeared a little bit.
Yeah.
So there's that part of it. And the second thing I probably want to say too is I think now is like the time to sell these guys, not to be buying these guys, because again, with the economy that you just spoke about then,
Yeah.
and also as we go into the off season, I think things are going to dribble down a little bit. So
Yeah, that's a fair point. I think he makes some very good points.
don't get too hot. I mean, look, guys, if you've been saving up your money and you really want to buy something, don't listen to me. Do what makes you happy. But I would also probably say too, buying at the moment now, particularly Celtics and Warriors stuff, is like for
I
me.
was going to say the day after an Al Horford best game of his career
Derek White
is
having the
not.
best game of his life. That's
Yeah, don't go and think he's just as good as Jordan Poole and you're getting value and you're going to pay $200 per silver because Derek White could get 3 DNPs in a row very easily after one bad performance.
nah. I
And
think he's there. He's stuck in their rotation now, man. I mean, okay,
stuck. Yeah, no, but
okay.
I'm saying he's that level player
Yeah, yeah. I
of
know. No,
player.
I know what you're trying to say, but like, I'm just going to
He's
hold
not
you
the
to
next
that.
Jordan Poole.
Okay, who are you going to put into his minutes if Derek White doesn't play?
Oh, geez, Boston. You know what I think of Boston? No.
So Pritchard was in the rotation.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? Play Nick Stauskas? Is that what you're implying?
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Stauskas? Stauskas?
I like Stauskas.
Yeah.
He's not a good basketballer, but I like the name.
Alrighty, man. Let's tie this bad boy off. We've ticked over to an hour again.
I told you we'd go over an hour.
Yeah.
Is it ready for part 2? No.
Hey, we need to do a giveaway.
We do. I'm just getting that in. I'm just going to roll 2 dice now. I knew that it happened. So we wouldn't be able to.
This week's giveaway was on the You Can't Comp This Twitter feed. So at youcantcompthis.
That's correct.
We had
8, was it?
Yeah, we had 8 entries.
Well, we had 8 people that did everything. We don't know how many new followers total we got, but the people that submitted the card that they wanted graded.
Even if someone commented, I still let that slide because
it's like make a comment, do something like
that was fun.
I've noticed a lot more than 8 followers, but I don't know.
We have more than 8 followers, but in terms of how many did we pick up due to the promotion, I honestly, mate, I should have checked what we had before and after, but that's okay.
All right.
Guys, everyone, thank you so much for participating in the competition. Good luck to everybody, whoever wins, and you need to contact us to claim your prize. So please reach out to us on socials. You can email us, whichever you like.
We've rolled the dice.
Sure.
It's a pair of 4s. Let's go. Randomize. I'm glad this counts for me because I just keep hitting the button. And I've randomized it twice now. Peter's been on top for a couple of rolls. I've randomized this list 5 times. Samuel, we've got. I reckon we're going to get done for. There's going to be conspiracy theories. All right, I've randomized the list 7 times. Martin Holmes is on top. Matt B is second. And Cheshire Plays Games, which is Al, is number 8. So we've had, if all of a sudden we get somebody that's been on this show, there's a 25% chance. I'm going to roll this one last time, all right?
Okay. Oh, okay. I thought you were saying that was the price.
No. Number 8, we have Mark Mania 21 has won the.
Oh, okay.
The week 3. I've rolled it again. Martin finished 3rd. Peter M was 2nd.
Cool.
Chesh 7th. And Samuel Scarce. Unlucky number 8. But yes, thank you everybody for entering. There's still a couple of weeks to go with this, isn't there?
So this week we're going to do
Slab's Twitter,
and then the week after that we're going to do Facebook. So
ooh,
yeah, we're getting into the last couple of weeks. So
cool.
Yeah,
seems
great.
Good.
Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Adam, for your time, mate. It's good to see you. You look well.
I'm feeling great. It's been a good week.
Good.
As Clay Thompson said, it's the first one to 4. It's not the first one to 1. So let's go Warriors in the in game 2. And I am really behind the Warriors for this one because I don't want Boston taking the lead in the number of championships. Every Lakers fan should be on the Warriors right now because we don't want Boston to get to 18 championships. This is ridiculous.
I was wondering why you're going for Golden State. Now it all makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
In closing, if you haven't seen the meme, because there was Tatum's tribute to Kobe in Game 7 against Miami.
Yeah.
And then there was the text message thing where he's like, he texts Kobe Bryant. He's like, I got you, bro. And then Kobe responds from heaven and says, F Boston. And that was it. Laker for life. Anyway. Yes, that's my closing thought for the night.
Beautiful.
Go Warriors.
Take it easy, everyone. Thanks for listening.
See you next week, guys.
Bye-bye.